Hey guys, this is Jeff on the Entrefied podcast. Entrefied means entering into your success. Entre means entering and fied means satisfied. So me and Patrick come together and come up with entering into your success. We talk with a lot of business owners and people that help businesses grow their business. We have book authors on the show, a lot of things like that, guys. So if you're a professional that can add value to our listeners, we'd like to have you on our show. Go to entrefied.com. That's www.entrefied.com. Fill out a form. You could possibly be on the show. We're going to have a personal podcast tonight. That's where I'm going to be giving you a lot of different points that get straight to the point. I call it rapid fire points, and I hope you guys get a lot from this. I would like you to do something, though. I would like you to consider the questions that come up. In other words, when we read these, how this actually applies to you. It's just not information. It's information that applies to you. So I hope you get that. So what I'd like to talk about is, this is the first point of being open-minded. You know, you have to be open-minded to the possibility of something for you to have a better chance of making it happen. So the key here is to stay open. Then start figuring out how you're going to possibly break it down. But if you dismiss it right from the start, you don't even have really a chance for it to come to fruition because you've already stomped it out. I would encourage you not to do that, to build your confidence. You know, what one person can do, another person can do. You have to start with the belief that it's possible. You know, that's the problem a lot of times. Even if we do have good ideas, if we don't have this super confidence and we don't have this built up in our lives, we get to thinking, well, we can't do that, you know, and that's not true, because really what one person can do, in most cases, another person can do the same thing or better. So what dreams would you dare to dream? That's the first question. If you believed, what would you actually do if you believed in yourself and you could accomplish that next level of success? I mean, are you happy where you're at? You may say, well, yeah, I'm happy because this is what it is. This is my lot in life, so to speak. Well, is it? I mean, is that really what you want? Because if it is, that's one thing. But if you really want something else and you're really not believing in yourself, then that may be another issue altogether. So I would encourage you to think about that. You know, what are the dreams that you would dare to dream if you believed in yourself? And I'm not telling you to go for it, but I'm telling you to start to recognize the lies that you're telling yourself. There's so many people that are so talented, but they don't ever take it to that next level because they either don't have that confidence, they don't have the knowledge, or they don't have the skill. Those are all things that you can get. Those are all things that you can keep putting work in and get better at. Sometimes reaching how to do something, you know, reaching out and researching it on the internet or looking up somebody that's already done it and modeling what they do, you can get a lot of great success from that. You don't have to know all the answers. You just have to know how to start. You have to know what that first thing is. Start to identify what limiting beliefs you're telling yourself. That's one of the best things you can do. Whether you're looking at this podcast as a personal, you know, benefit, or if you're looking at it from a professional standpoint, and what area that you're looking at it at, start identifying what limiting beliefs you're telling yourself in that area. Start to ask those questions. You know, why don't I think I'm good enough? And what lies am I telling myself? They're dream killers, guys. If you start to get to the point where you're really good at something and you talk yourself out of it, you're not going to achieve the level of success that you could. Start to work on those weaknesses that are holding you back. Not just attitudes either. It could be knowledge in the area, skills in the field, as I mentioned. You don't have the knowledge in the field. Those are all things that you can get. I would always say first key is identifying what it is that you want to change. The next step is doing it, taking action, and then schedule when you can work on it. I mean, it ain't just a one-time and done thing on a lot of things. It's a continual improvement program. And as I mentioned that before, we do have that. We have what we call a continual improvement program if you'll go to our website. But I also call it the PAR workbook, which is plan, action, and repeat, or plan, adapt, repeat. Either way that you say it, it could be either one with that acronym. But PAR, plan, action, repeat, is about having a plan, putting it into action, and then repeating. But the plan, the action sometimes, and then you have to look at the feedback you're getting. You have to adapt, and then you repeat the planning stage of that. So, and then you start over with that, and then you start with the action. But it's all just a big circle of reoccurring process. Plan, action, repeat. Plan, action, repeat. It's not about plan, action, quit. You have to find out what worked, what didn't work, then you have to reapply. So that's what this is about, guys. It's about a process, not just information you can get. You can get information pretty much anywhere nowadays, but where can you get a superior process? That's the question I have for you. Take something and put a process behind it, and it'll take you further than the information alone. So what can you identify that's holding you back? How can you start working on that? What is that for you? I mean, it could be lots of different things. These are some of the questions that I want you to answer for yourself. You may say, well, I don't need to answer that. You don't have to answer that, but I'm telling you, if you'll start to work in that area that you're in, whatever that is, and you'll start asking some of these questions, you get real with yourself, you'll find better results. We often set ourselves up for failure, though. That's the next point I wanted to talk to you about. By going too hard, too fast, expecting too much. You know, I talked with one of my friends one time about lifting weights, and he's been doing it for years. I'm just really starting. I used to lift weights a little bit when I was a freshman in high school. That's been eons ago. And I said, look, what do I need to do? And he said, look, here's what you need to do. So don't do too much too quick. So just, every week or two, put you a little like 2 or 3 pounds more on each side of the bar. Talking about bench pressing is what we was talking about. And he said, just increase gradually. He said, hey, you don't have, it's not a race, basically, is what he was saying. And the truth is, life is like that, guys. If we keep just adding just a little bit and we continue with what we've already been doing, and that's also key too. You can't just quit. Okay, so, well, I've got here, I'm done. But if you keep adding to where you're at and you keep progressing, man, that's strong. You can't hardly beat that. That's the stuff that greatness is made out of. It's the simple, successful actions that you continue every day that make great success. It's not just the one big idea. It's all the little small ideas. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about with you too, is making sure that you're not just putting this big, massive goal out in front of you, and that's all you think about. You say, well, I got to make my goal, But yeah, that's great to make a goal. That's good. But make little mini goals. Have little rewards along the way. Now, you may be thinking, how does this apply to me? It's up to you. It could be anything for you. Personal, professional. You have to start to identify how you apply this information. It's one of the things I wanted to start putting in here was questions where you guys can start seeing how this applies to you. I encourage you to get the podcast notes. I'm going to try to put that in the description, but you can get a lot of these notes where you can reread this and go over things where you can go over and over and over it. But they have questions in here. It's one of the reasons I wanted you to, before we started, so you could understand that there's going to be a question in here that you can identify with. So it's just not just information. But I want you to start to look at the small goals and the accomplishment. Stop looking at all the big goals. Let's say I got to lift 400 pounds. And I'm using an example of what I might want, what might be a goal for me. I don't want to lift 400 pounds, by the way. But what I'm trying to say is, rather than that, start where you're at and start making little mini goals and start accomplishing those things and start rewarding yourself. Now, how do you reward yourself? Well, here's one thing you can do. You can start acknowledging that you met a goal. You met that goal. That's a success. That's a reward in and of itself. But start looking at your days as consistent improvement. Not just one area you got here and you accomplished something big. It's the rest of your life. Start making mini goals. Guys, I hope you've got something from this today. What are some of the ways that you have been self-sabotaging yourself? What can you learn from that and do differently? I hope you get this. Go over and get the podcast notes, guys, where you can start looking at this and applying these questions. I hope this has added great success to your life, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.